again, my name is Liz Hartsgrove. I'm from the town of Barnstable, and I'm going to stand over on this side of the, because I am usually behind a counter, and I'm the face that you're going to see when you go break into City Hall. And I actually really don't like that term. I'm going to be really honest with you, because yes, artists are about breaking rules, but City Hall is not. And you're going to get in big trouble if you break into it. So I think the term that you really need to think about is collaborating with City Hall. And it's proof right there that collaboration is really where it's at. You have to work with town government, and they have to be your friend and vice versa, because that's how you're going to actually strengthen your community, that you are there to enhance, that you want. That's the reason why you pick a particular community or a particular area, is that it's about enhancing your special event or the program that you're offering that you want people to participate in, or that you want people to understand what the history, what your legacy of the community is. And you have to work with the individuals that are tasked with helping you. So yes, it's a daunting task. However, to give you a little bit of a background on my history, and I don't know if you read any of our bios or anything, but yes, I've worked in municipal government on Cape Cod for the last 15 years. I worked in Provincetown for 4. I worked with Wellfleet for 3 years. I worked in the town of Hyannis for 4, actually 5, and now I'm on my 4th year in the town of Barnstable. So I'm literally going from the very tip of the Cape all the way down to the middle of the arm now. But previous life, I was a dancer. And I was not only just a dancer, I was a professional dancer. And I came from a family that was not dancers, but my brothers were. So I danced with American Ballet Theater and Joffrey Ballet Company. And I danced at the Kennedy Center and the Lincoln Center, and I danced all over the country. And I also got my bachelor's in fine arts from Southern Methodist University in dance performance. How the hell did I get into government? Okay, so yeah. So I did not come from a family of artists, really. My brother, though, was a dancer for Paul Taylor Dance Company, and my younger brother danced with Pacific Northwest Ballet Company. So, but my mom's side of the family was all in government. We lived in the Washington, D.C. area, and a lot of my uncles were in the National Park Service. And I got out of college and I was like, I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do. I really don't want to arts, okay, maybe I'll be a teacher, but I don't really want to do that. And my uncle gave me the wonderful opportunity to say, sign up for the Park Service, you'll get to travel, because that's what I really love to do. And you'll get housing, you'll get to travel, you'll get to meet people, all sorts of stuff. So I got a job with Yosemite National Park for the first season as a fee collector and bear patrol in the valley. I know, it's very strange, but it worked. And I started loving it. I started actually really diving into it. And that was a passion, being a child, growing up in Washington, D.C., where, you teach in schools, power of the community and everything. So on Cape Cod, we learn about cranberry farmers. We learn about, the environment and all sorts of stuff. Well, in Washington, D.C., we learned about government, and we went to the Smithsonian's, and we went to the Capitol for our field trips. So there was already a built-in passion for it for any of the students that live in that area. And I dove into that passion. And so fast forward, I get a job in Boston, the National Historic Park, actually as a dispatcher. And that's where I met my husband, and who is in National Park Service law enforcement. He's the deputy chief for law enforcement for the National Seashore. And hence I moved out to the Cape when we got married. And I got a job in Provincetown working in the licensing department, being the director of it for the licensing. And that's where I started building the community aspect of my position. So I was tasked with helping artists, helping businesses get licensed. And what do they need to do to hold special events? And no better community than Provincetown to actually be my initial town, where it's only a small community of 2,500, but it balloons up to 40,000 people during the summer. And then on 4th of July and during Carnival Parade, you have a whopping 200,000 people crowded in a 3-mile long, 1 mile wide community. Whoa. So, I have included, Greg, if you can actually pass these around. Okay, so I have actually, because I have experience, a wide variety of experience working in different communities. Wellfleet is a fishing village that balloons up to about 25,000 during the summer. Yarmouth is a 24,000 year-round community. Again, I've had experience working with town selectmen and town councilors, because Barnstable is a 45,000 population, but it balloons up to 200,000 during the summer. That's not including special events. That's also not including people traveling to the islands, because we are the transportation hub for the Cape. And because we have the airport, we have the ferries going over to the islands, and we have the trains coming in, and that's where I actually am really loving Barnstable. So with my expertise, I created a cheat sheet for everyone, because I'm sure you guys are all into holding special events. You're not on our side of things. So how do you talk to somebody from the other side of the desk when you come to any type of regulatory office? And this is going to help you, okay? There are differences between private events and public events. And there's differences between public property and private property. And there's also the differences between one community and the partnering community, the next door community. So yes, it's a daunting task. However, it's not as actually daunting as you think. The way that I think about it, and I present it to people, especially artists and people who are, that's their job, is to actually think outside of the box. So how do you think outside of the box when it comes to regulating and actually getting everything that you need for your special event? Okay, so I'm a dancer, and I was trained as a dancer. I was also trained on how to create choreography and a production that you could put on stage. And that's what special events you have to think about. You have a director, you have a producer, you have your orchestra, you have your conductor, you have all your musicians, you have your lighting directors and tech crew, you also have costumers, people that are actually working on the scenes. Then you have your dancers or your actors or the people that are going to be your performers. And you've got to rehearse that. And you have a long time to come up with a planning. That's the same thing with special events, and you do need to treat it that way. You can't just come to City Hall or Town Hall and say, I want to throw a massive event, big party or whatever I'm going to be celebrating, and I want to do it this weekend. You will be surprised standing on this side of the desk and be like, oh my God, no. So you're setting right up the failure for town officials who want to help you, but they can't because their hands are tied with certain types of rules and regulations that are out of our control. It's not only even out of the control of the lawmakers, the local law officials. It's actually even in the state level that some of these regulations are set that we can't even do anything about. So make sure you prepare. That's the big thing I have to just recommend to everyone is just make sure you come prepared. Give ample time. Give about like at least 3+ months so you can go through all the permitting process that you need to do. So this is in generic, just things to keep, like helpful hints just to keep reminders of is that use of town property, those kind of things. Make sure that you think about security and medical when you have large numbers of people. Think about bathrooms, parking, where are they going to park? So those are all the things that you will need to check on. And a lot of communities actually don't have the luxury of having an arts and cultural department that can help you walk you through, or even a special event permit coordinator, or even a permit coordinator. They don't have that. So where do you start? My suggestion, town manager, Board of Selectmen's office, or the town mayor's office, or city mayor's office. Start there. Their administrative assistants are the go-to people for, they're really, if you don't have an information desk at City Hall or Town Hall, They are the information desk, and I've worked in the town manager's office for 8 years. I got enough phone calls that I became the information desk. So they know where to start at, okay? It's a given that any type of, especially if you have a special event on town property or city property, they are the go-to. The mayor or the town manager is going to have to sign off on the use of town property. That's their charge. So start there. They will be able to guide you if they don't have, if the community that you want to hold a special event doesn't have a permit coordinator or somebody that can actually hold your hand and walk you through the process. And so they'll take you to the building department for tents, and that's what we call in Barnstable enhancement permits. What do you enhance? What do you want to enhance your event? And so you have signs, you have electricity and entertainment, you want to have alcohol or food. Those do all require separate permits, so just be aware of that and make sure that it's timed in there. And then I did also put some extra little helpful hints on the back of it for you. A lot of communities nowadays, you have to keep in mind, if you have vendors, if you want to do like an arts and crafts festival or something, keep in mind that a lot of communities now are going into plastic bag bans. So be cognizant of that. And also recycling, they might have recycling requirements, so just double check on those kinds of things. Those are really important, that you want to be able to not forget. You want to think outside the box. Again, think outside the box. And double check with your town officials on those requirements, because that's the last thing that you want to do and add stress to you a week before your event, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, and then you have to let all your vendors know, no more plastic bags in your that you can bring. So, and talking to the community organizations, getting them involved, not just actually inviting them to the event, but before the event. Keep your events in line. My only real recommendation is keep your events lined with the mission statements and the strategic plans of the actual towns, because that's where you're going to get your support. Is that's how you're going to be able to talk to your elected officials, is that when you do your research and you look at the community that really mends with your special event, you can actually take that and say, okay, this is economic development, this is about conservation or community type of things. And you can then go to your business organizations, your village associations, your elected officials, and then that's where they can help you through the process in the support and plugging you to the right people, because it's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know in town government that's going to be able to help you get your event out there and as productive as possible. So on that note, I hope I helped a little bit, but definitely my information is at Town of Barnstable, and I am definitely the type of person that if you want help, please reach out to me, and I can help you through the process, or at least guide you a little bit if it's a little daunting. So please find me on the Town of Barnstable's website. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.